Rams beat the Bills 44-42. Seahawks beat the Cards 30-18. Massive win for them. Winners of 4 straight. They sit atop the division at 8-5. Cardinals now at 6-7. And then the 49ers blew out the Bears, one of the most lopsided games you'll see all season long, 38-13. But they round up the rear still of the NFC West at 6-7. Still a lot of intra-divisional games here going forward, as a lot of these teams still play each other. But as it stands right now, you see there on your screen, Seattle at 8-5, Rams at 7-6, Cardinals at 6-7, 49ers at 6-7. I think we ask this question every single week, but who do we think comes out on top at the end of this division?
I know me and Mike have been high on the Seattle Seahawks since the beginning of the year.
The defense.
Right? Now, I had in the beginning, I will not lie, I had in the beginning of the year San Fran just because of the pedigree and the frontline players, but they've had a lot of injuries and then some off-the-field stuff, unfortunately, with some of their star players that has kept them away from the field, and I think that's what has hurt them. And they still have a gauntlet of a schedule coming down. But the Seattle Seahawks have to be kicking themselves because there was a game earlier this year versus the Rams where they essentially gave that game away. Right now, this week is big because the Rams play San Fran on Thursday night. And to me, whoever loses that game essentially is probably going to knock themselves out of the playoffs altogether. Like the loser of that game will be out of the playoffs. Seattle is one of the hottest teams coming off the bye, right? When you look at Mike Macdonald, I think people were worried some in the beginning because he essentially was brought in to fix the defense. Now, Pete Carroll is a defensive-minded coach, but the defense had been the issue for the Seahawks the last few years. Right. Mike Macdonald made some, I would say, head-scratching moves, right? When you cut Terrell Dotson, who you just paid in the offseason, right? You trade for Ernest Jones, and this is the second time being traded for within like 6 weeks. But they've worked, right? They've been amazing pickups. Like Ernest Jones balled out today, right? He had an interception today. So, like, he's been really good at that linebacking position for Mike Macdonald. Leonard Williams has been almost unblockable for the last month of the season. Right. And then they got Uchenna Nwosu back as well this year. So they're getting stronger on that side of the ball. Me and you talked about it. Geno Smith, nobody makes more big time throws than him, but he had struggled in the beginning of the year in the red zone and turning the football over. That was something that I feel like he's finally kind of got out of his system the last 3 games. He's been doing a really good job of taking care of the football, and he's still throwing the leather off. I mean, some of the throws he made today, like even like some of the drops, like the Tyler Lockett drop for the touchdown, which would have extended the lead by, I think, 2 scores. Like, I don't see many guys making that throw. Like, he put it where only Tyler Lockett could catch it.
Yeah.
And Tyler Lockett of old would have caught that. Like, it hit him right in the hands. So, I mean, you have to give a shout out to Zach Charbonnet, who stepped in for Kenneth Walker III. And this running offense had struggled. But for some reason, I don't know if it's Zach Charbonnet's run style. The offensive line were moving people from the Cardinals today. Like, they were literally displacing guys. And Charbonnet was breaking tackles and running with purpose. He had a career day today, so he was big. And you talked about the defense already. I mean, those 2 early turnovers of Kyler Murray. One, Kyler Murray was staring the receiver down, didn't even see Ernest Jones in zone coverage. He picks it off, and on the next one, he was late to the outside. Kobe Bryant does a really good job undercutting it and getting an interception. So I love what I've seen from the Seattle defense. And they're another team. I know I talked about the Rams, and nobody wants them to get in. Seattle gets a home playoff game and potentially, gets 2 home playoff games. They're gonna be tough to contend with. Like that's a well-balanced breakfast over there.
Because unlike the Cardinals, whose like defense had played really well, the Seahawks have talent on that side of the football. Like this is no
heavy frontline talent.
Yes, this is no fluke, and not only on the defensive line, but now at linebacker with Ernest Jones, but then also in the secondary with Tariq Woolen and Devin Witherspoon. Like this is a real deal. Julian Love as well. And I
don't
love
forget
that
Julian Love
at the end of that game, up 2 scores. Kyler Murray walking kind of down the football field. They still don't allow a touchdown there at the end. They had some pride,
Correct.
A few pass breakups in the end zone. Those guys are still fighting to the end. And it's indicative of just how well coached they look right now. I mean, just not giving you a lot of options for big plays, not blowing a lot of coverages, just a tough defense to face down in and down out. And then the flip side, we talked about the Rams and their offensive line getting healthy. Seattle's offensive line, since the retirement of Connor Williams and the return of Abraham Lucas, has actually turned around. I mean, like they have been much better in recent weeks. And that's like a big part of Geno's turnover issues is he's not having to throw with 3 guys hanging off him anymore. You know, he's not having to throw from these collapsing tiny pockets. And that just makes such a huge difference. And when he gets time, he is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So, yeah, I'm scared.
Without a doubt.
If I'm the rest of the NFC West, I think it's Seattle. I think at this point, you're going to have to unseat the king. They got a difficult schedule, though.
I was about to say that schedule is tough. It's really tough. Hey, Debo, you can put that up for us one more time, because I didn't realize that they had not only Green Bay, but they got Minnesota, and they finish off with the Rams too. So like 3 of those 4 are going to be. They I would say they have to win at least 2 to win the division.
I think it's that Rams game at the end that will be the de facto division championship game. And I think
good thing is they got Green Bay and Minnesota at home.
Yes. And Chicago's in free fall right now. I think you could chalk up Chicago as a win. If they can sneak out one of Green Bay or Minnesota, because the Rams have the 49ers, the Jets, the Cardinals, and then obviously that week 18 Seahawks game. So an easier schedule of it, but they're that game back. And I think the 49ers right now going to them on Thursday night is going to be a difficult win for them. So we shall see who ends up
for sure. I mean, the only thing is the Rams do got 1 game up on them, right? So like you have to, if the schedules end up being or the record ends up being the same, like that, like you said, that week 18 matchup at LA is going to be for all the marbles.